Hi everyone, it's Mrs. Hamernick. Welcome to our first writing lesson. We are going to be looking at fairy tales again. So we are going to start with a quick review. These first two lessons will be review and then we will be moving forward with our adaptations. So if we look at our learning intentions today, we can learn a fairy tale by heart by these two steps. The first step is reading and rereading a story, and the second step is going to be writing about that story in our own words. So I'm going to hop on Epic here because I don't have any fairy tales at home, and that might be the same situation that you guys are in. So I'm going to hop on Epic. I've already logged in, and I'm going to find that mailbox, and I'm going to look through where I assigned you fairy tales. I'm going to click there. And I'm not going to pick an adaptation here because I want to study an original. So I am going to look at The Princess and the Pea. Okay, this story is half in Spanish, half in English. I can only read the English parts. So we're going to start with the English. The Princess and the Pea. Long ago, in a castle on a hill, lived a prince who was very sad. He wanted a wife and children, but he had never met a princess to marry, not a real princess. Many women came to visit the royal palace, but none of them were real princesses. Your wife will help you rule our kingdom, the queen said, so she must be sensitive and caring and brave enough to help care for the citizens of our country. She must be a real princess. One night when the wind was howling and the rain was beating against the castle doors, there was a loud knock at the door. When the prince opened the door, he saw a princess. At least, she said she was a princess. But was she really sensitive, brave, and caring? It's very cold outside, said the prince, and you are very wet. Come inside and sit by the fire, and I will get you some warm food to eat. Why were you out in the storm, princess? Asked the queen. Where is your horse? I took some food to my sick aunt, said the princess. On the way home, a lightning bolt struck the ground and scared my horse. He threw me and ran away. Thought the queen. She is caring and brave, but is she sensitive? I will put a pea under her mattress to find out. The queen slid the pea under not one, not two, not three, but 20 mattresses. If she feels that, the queen said to herself, then I will know that she is a real princess. Soon it was time for bed. The queen walked upstairs with the princess. Good night, said the queen. I hope the storm doesn't keep you awake. I'm sure I'll sleep well, said the princess. Thank you so much for letting me stay in your castle. The princess climbed a tall ladder to reach the top of the bed. Will you be comfortable? Asked the queen. Oh, yes, said the princess. It is perfect. But it wasn't perfect. The princess twisted in bed. She turned in bed. She couldn't even lay upside down in bed. But she couldn't get comfortable. The next morning, the princess tried to hide her giant yawns, but the queen saw her yawning. The queen frowned at the princess. Did you not sleep well? She asked the princess. No, said the princess. There was something hard and lumpy in my bed. The queen smiled. You are a real princess, she said. A few months later, the prince and the princess were married. Together they took good care of the citizens and the country. The end. My next step would be to not only read, but reread this story. So I would go back in and I would read it again. Maybe the first time you read it in your head, the second time you read it out loud to a brother or a sister or a parent, or maybe you record yourself reading it, completely up to you. But to save time for our mini lesson, I'm only going to read it once, okay? So I've read it out loud to you, I've read it in my head, and now we're going to start with our writing. So I know this story by heart. Now you guys are going to be doing this writing in a Google document, but I can't have that Google document up while I'm showing you what I'm going to be writing. So I'm going to write in a notebook, but you guys are going to hop onto Google Classroom. You're going to hit your assignment for April 6th, and in your Google document is where you are going to be doing this writing. So pretend this is my Google document, okay? So at the top it would say my name, and it would say April 6th. Now, I want to retell this story to show that I know exactly what it's about, because we know to adapt fairy tales, we need to know the story by heart. Okay, so I'm probably going to start with transition words. First this happens, then this happens, next this happens, finally this happens. First, a prince wanted to marry a real princess, not one of those fake ones. Okay. She had to be sensitive, brave, and I believe the other one was kind. Caring. I had to refer back to the story. Okay, so first the princess wanted to marry a real princess. The prince wanted to marry a real princess. She had to be sensitive, brave, and caring. Okay, next, the prince and queen get a knock on the door during a storm. At the door was a beautiful, and I'm going to put this in quotes because we don't really know yet, princess. Then, so I have first, then next, now I'm on then the queen noticed that the princess, she, quote, princess, we don't know if she's a real princess yet, was brave and caring, but needed to see if she was sensitive. So, there's another transition word, so. She piled 20 mattresses on top of each other. And placed a single pea under the bottom mattress. After that, another transition word, the princess climbed a ladder and hopped into bed. But we all know what happens next. She couldn't sleep. No matter how hard she tried. She woke up she didn't really wake up. She got out of bed the next day and couldn't stop yawning. Lastly, the queen knew she was sensitive because she clearly hadn't slept. In the end, the prince and the princess were married. and they both ruled with sensitivity, bravery, and with caring hearts. Okay. So now if I go over this writing, I should be able to tell, did I touch all parts of my story? Did I first tell what's happening in the story? Then, did I tell the big problem in the story? Well, this prince wants a princess, and she needs to be brave and caring and sensitive. So that's the big problem. And then we find a princess, but then she's not just, oh, hey, you're a princess. They have to put her to the test. So then the queen puts her through the test of the mattress. The queen finds out, yep, she is indeed sensitive as well as brave and caring. So then the prince is married. So we're following that character mountain. We start with the problem, big problem. We need to prove that she's a princess. And then that solution on the way down. Okay, this right here, this retelling of the story that you're learning by heart is what you're going to be posting on Google Classroom. So right now, spend some time, read a story, read a fairy tale off Epic, and become really familiar with it. Read it out loud at least twice, and then maybe once in your head, so you learn that story by heart. Then you are going to retell that story in your own words on Google. You will hop onto Google, click into our classroom, go onto our assignment for April 6th, click onto it, hit that create, and then get started.